The bagong Alyansa Makabayan or Bayan is considering filing a new impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte once the one-year filing ban expires in February. The group is awaiting the Supreme Court's decision on its appeal, which previously blocked impeachment proceedings and deemed the earlier complaint unconstitutional. Bayan chairperson Teddy Casiño said the organization remains determined to hold officials accountable, but strategies are being carefully reviewed due to new conditions set by the Supreme Court.
Joining us now to talk more about this is, of course, the Bayan chairperson himself, Teddy Casiño. Good morning. Thanks for joining us again.
Good morning po, and good morning to our viewers.
Of course, Ka-Teddy, ano ba yung magiging, may diferensya ba yung inihain ng nakaraan impeachment compared dun sa ihain po ng inyong grupo next year?
Sa ngayon, sa nakikita namin, it will be basically the same complaint. Patungkol ito doon sa paglustay ng 612.5 million pesos worth of confidential and intelligence funds. Nung si Vice President Sara Duterte ay meron pang confidential intelligence funds and when she was Secretary of the Department of Education. Tingin namin kasi ito yung pinakamatibay kung pag-uusapan namin ay ebidensya at grounds for impeachment on the grounds of betrayal of public trust.
Nag-freeze po.
Nag-freeze.
Oo, nawala.
Ayun.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes. As I was saying, basically it will be the same complaint because ang tingin namin yung issue ng confidential and intelligence funds, yung paglustay ng 612.5 million pesos ni Vice President Sara Duterte and also when she was former Secretary of Department of Education is the strongest as far as evidence is concerned.
Right.
And as far as the grounds for impeachment, which is betrayal of public trust.
And but sir, how crucial is yung magiging decision din ng Senado dito? Because sa ngayon, yung impeachment case niya is archived pa rin. So in other words, anytime pwede i-resurrect to. So is that an avenue you're looking at na baka pwede naman mag-appeal sa mga senador, i-resurrect na lang yung case instead of filing a new one?
Well, very crucial ang Supreme Court because the Senate has decided that it will await the ruling on the appeal. Kasi nag-appeal ang Senate, nag-appeal ang maraming complainants doon sa decision ng Supreme Court. So if the Supreme Court reverses its decision at sasabihin ng Supreme Court na hindi naman mali ang ginawa ng Congress at hindi unconstitutional, therefore, the Senate will proceed forthwith with the trial. Kaya ngayon ang inaantay talaga natin. At best case scenario is that the Supreme Court comes up with a ruling before February 6. At dahil dito ay matutuloy ang trial sa Senado. So hindi na kailangan mag-file ng panibago. But in case there is no decision by February 6, mukhang kailangang mag-file ng panibago by February 6. Ang isang naging problema rin kasi because of the Supreme Court decision, nabalik yung possibility na ang impeachment ay unahan.
Yes.
Ibig sabihin, kung sino ang unang makapag-file, once the deadline lapses, parang yun na yung mako-consider na first complaint. And that will block all the other subsequent complaints. We're not saying that that is what will happen, but the Supreme Court opens that interpretation. Kaya ang pinapangamba natin by February 6, baka alas 11:30 pa lang the day before nakapila na doon sa sa Kongreso yung mga magfa-file. At precisely ito yung iniiwasan sana natin. But the Supreme Court decision opens that possibility again.
Right.
Now, there have been several groups that have been saying that they have uncovered new evidence daw against the Vice President for impeachment to strengthen the current. In case po na the Supreme Court does decide in favor of paving the way essentially for the revival or resurrecting of the archived impeachment case, do you think it will be prudent to push through with this or take a look at muna what the other groups have na baka naman pwede mag-file ng bago?
Tingin namin yung complaint originally filed, matibay na yun eh.
That's enough already.
We feel, in fact, she was actually impeached by the lower house.
That's right, that's
Ang
right.
problema lang, hindi nagkaroon ng trial. So, it will be difficult if nag-decide the Supreme Court na pwede na palang magtuloy yung trial, it will be difficult for parties to include additional evidences or charges or grounds. Kasi yun na yung ipinasa ng Congress sa Senado. But in the past, nagawa nila yon. In the past, nakakapag-introduce ng mga bagong ebidensya. So, depende naman yan sa magiging desisyon ng impeachment court. They may or may not admit new evidence. So, it will be a matter of vote naman sa Senado.
Before that, I'd like to clarify one last turn regarding that. Assuming po na okay sa lahat sa Supreme Court with this old complaint, then does the one-year ban apply pa rin to the first one filed last year or this year? In effect, meron pa isa for next year.
If it decides how the Supreme Court will decide. Pero pag sinabi ng Supreme Court na hindi kasi ang pinag-usapan dito is the fourth impeachment complaint.
That's right.
And ang sabi nga namin, may factual error kasi ang Supreme Court. Ang sinasabi ng Supreme Court, bago dinesisyonan yung fourth complaint, in-archive yung 3 earlier complaints. And therefore, nag-set in na yung 1-year ban.
That's right.
When what actually happened was that sabay-sabay ni-refer ito sa plenary.
Oo.
And the plenary decided to act upon first doon sa fourth complaint. Yun yung una nilang inaksyonan, pinadala sa Senado. And then the others were archived. So I think kung yun ang magiging basis ng Supreme Court, that it had a factual reading of a wrong reading of the facts, the 1-year ban would not apply to the fourth complaint. At ito yung mismong itatrial sa Senado kasi ito naman yung pinadala ng Congress.
Well, I was wondering po, even though nabanggit nyo nga po na same scope or content naman po ipa-file po ninyo na impeachment complaint against VP Sara, I was wondering kung meron po kayong new evidence that will show, or new and stronger evidence against the Vice President this time around.
I think as far as the confidential and intelligence funds issue is concerned, kumpleto na yung ebidensya eh. The documents were there. Many evidences were unearthed during the hearings of the House of Representatives Good Government Committee. So I don't think there is any need for any additional evidence.
Right.
Ang problema lang talaga, hindi natuloy yung trial. The trial should have proceeded, and we felt then that the evidence was enough to convict.
Well,
But you know, if anything more comes up, it can probably be included. Pero pagbobotohan pa ng Senado kasi kung may
That's
mga
right.
additional evidence or charges, kasi kumpleto na yung
Yeah, that's
kumpleto
right.
na yung
Articles,
complaint na pinadala noon
well, we all know naman po ang impeachment ay sinasabi nila numbers game, political in nature. How confident are we right now given the situation in the Congress na uusad po this time around itong articles of impeachment sa Congress din to sa Senado?
Well, yeah, it is political in nature, but for us, for the complainants, it is the proper mechanism for accountability. And whether it is political or judicial, it is something that we have to avail of kung gusto natin mapanagot ang mga matataas na opisyal ng gobyerno. So, of course, saying it is political in nature simply means that the Senate will have to contend with public opinion. But so balanse naman yan eh. Ang pagbabalansehan nila, unang-una, ano ba yung ebidensya? No? Ano ba yung strength ng arguments ng complainants? Pangalawa, ano yung kanilang personal na paninindigan? We all know that senators have their own loyalties with respect to the Dutertes or the Marcoses. So I think that will certainly come into play. But a third factor is that our senators are always conscious with the public pulse. At alam nilang sa panahon ngayon na ang publiko is really hungry for accountability over issues of corruption, whether it is the flood control mess or the confidential and intelligence funds. Ang usapin naman dyan, accountability. And the public
That's right.
mood is that we want these officials to be accountable. So I think these three factors will play a big role in how the senators make their decisions.
All right, thank you for your time and insights, and hopefully pag may update, sir, kausapin namin kayo ulit. But for now, that was Bayan Chairperson Teddy Casiño. Thank you again.
Salamat po. Good morning. Gandang umaga po sa lahat.